Hello, BookTube. Say hi to all those people over there, baby. Huh? Uh, I thought we'd do a little bit of mail today. It's a beautiful day, nice and warm. We had a brief, slushy little snow event, but now it's back up where it belongs in Boston, where it always is in Boston. Nice and warm, shirt sleeve weather for walking the bean. One of our early walks today, however, oh God, she's going nuts back there. One of our early walks today traumatized both of us. We were walking down the sidewalk when we noticed coming from a yard walkway a cat. Big gray cat with its tail up in the air, easily 10% bigger than Frida, who is currently thrashing on the bed. She's thrashing away. Neither one of us knew what to do. The cat was just walking towards us. No arched back, no hissing like these creatures usually have. Instead, it walked right up to us while we were both standing there and brushed the whole of its length against Frida's whiskers and then against my shins, making a monstrous noise the whole time that I think you cat people refer to as purring. I know, baby, it's upsetting me too. Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness. What are you doing? What are you doing? And then it just sauntered away. Two of us stood there. We must have stood there for about 2 minutes just saying, did that really happen? But it's otherwise been absolutely wonderful. It's nice that winter is finally moving out of Boston. Soon I won't need these hoodies anymore. Soon it'll just be back to polo shirts and collared shirts and t-shirts as it is for 11 months out of the year here. But might have a warm rainstorm this weekend. We'll see. But today has been absolutely wonderful. So every time the Bean has suggested that we go for a walk, every time I've suggested it, it's been no trouble at all. Just go right outside. You're not going to be uncomfortable in slice. Although I hear on the news that a lot of the rest of the country is not so blessed. A lot of the rest of the country is having bitterly cold weather and repeated snowstorms. That doesn't look good at all. But anyway, let's look at the mail and see what kind of trouble we get into. We'll start this first one. We're ready to fill up the coffers for January, for not just January, but all of 2024. We're ready to fill up the shelves. Okay, here we go. This is, I think I got this from a publisher. I think somebody got in touch with me here. This is in May. This is by Eugene Rogan, who did The Fall of the Ottomans. Some of you will know that book. Some of you will like that book. And this is called The Damascus Events. I'm going to remember to put it on that side instead of here, so I'm not covering my face in dramatic shadow. So this is the 1860 massacre and the making of the modern Middle East. I don't have a sheet for it, but this will be the copy that will be on the sheet when you get it at the bookstore. On July 9th, 1860, a violent mob swept through the Christian quarters of Damascus. For 8 days, violence raged, leaving 5,000 Christians dead. Thousands of shops looted, and churches, houses, and monasteries razed. The sudden and ferocious outbreak shocked the world, leaving Syrian Christians vulnerable and fearing renewed violence. Drawn from never-before-seen eyewitness accounts of the Damascus events, eminent Middle East historian Eugene Rogan tells the story of how a peaceful, multicultural city came to be engulfed in slaughter. Certainly, the cover copy has not told that story yet. We've had the passive voice, and although we've mentioned what was it? Renewed violence, ferocious outbreak, looting. We haven't yet heard who did it. No hint in that direction at all. Let's see if we'll find it here. He traces how rising tensions between Muslims and Christians. There we go. It was a Muslim mob that did that. Communities led some to regard extermination as a reasonable solution. Some, yeah, there's always a few bad apples, right? Always a few little random rogue cells. I'm sure that's what it was. Was it top down, perhaps, in the Muslim community? Was it preached by their religious leaders, for instance? Was it organized by their civic leaders? No, couldn't have been. That's what we just it let a random feud think that violence was the answer. I'm sure. Rogan also narrates the wake of this disaster and how the Ottoman government moved quickly to retake control of the city, end the violence, and reintegrate Christians into the community. These efforts to rebuild Damascus proved successful, preserving peace for the next 150 years until 2011, I wonder what happened then. The book doesn't tell me. I guess I'll have to read it to find out, or maybe I could Google it. I wonder what happened in 2011. Damascus Events offers a vivid history, one that masterfully uncovers the outbreak of violence that unmade a great city and examines the possibility, even after searing conflict and unimaginable tragedy, of repair. Well, I like this author. I like The Fall of the Ottomans. I don't particularly like that cover copy, but we all understand the reason why it reads the way it does, right? It's the reason that it reads the way it does is not because you're worried about hurting feelings. You're worried about your building being burned down. But this comes out in the early spring, 5 months from now, when, weirdly enough, it's going to take probably the rest of my life. I'm only 28, but still, it's going to take a long time for me to get used to the fact that the weather today will be the same as the weather when this book comes out. The weather today is early spring. The weather a month ago was early spring. The weather 2 months ago was early spring. It's just going to take some getting used to, that's all. But let's move on to this next one. What have we got here? Okay, this comes out in April. Oh, great. Okay, I'm gonna mispronounce this author's name. I think I did it the last time. We've already got a couple of books from this author on this channel for you long-term viewers. This comes out at the end of April, so almost May. And this is 1795, The Order of the Furies by Nicholas Not Dog, Night and Day. A historical fiction, historical thriller. For more than a year, Emil Winge has dedicated himself to capturing the diabolical Tycho Seaton with the invaluable assistance of the one-armed army veteran and watchman Jean-Michael Cardell. Their mission is made more difficult by the ever-increasing paranoia gripping Sweden's royal family, who fear that a bloody revolution is brewing. A letter with the names of the revolutionary conspirators is said to be in the possession of Anna Stina Knapp, a good friend of Cardell. Now Anna is missing, and Cardell is determined to find her before the secret police take her into custody. While the two fight for justice and for life, they find themselves caught between powerful enemies, those who will do anything to maintain the status quo, and those who will only be satisfied with its total destruction. And we saw, at the very least, we saw The Wolf and the Watchman, which I really liked, and I know that a lot of you have read it. At the very least, we saw that. I don't have a date or any mention of that, but that was years ago on this channel, but we did see it. I don't know if we saw anything else from this author. But I liked it. So we're 2 for 2 as far as authors whose credit in the bank of Steve is pretty healthy. All right, let's move on. Let's keep going. There's no reason why this has to be 45 minutes. Did an hour-long video yesterday. There's no reason why they all have to be an hour long. Let's see what this next one is. What are you? Oh. What is this? What on earth? Oh, this is lovely. This is, wow. Okay, I don't remember asking for this, but this is a new edition, a new naked hardcover edition of Sense and Sensibility. Well, I guess this is my year to read this book. I just recently found a Penguin, Reader's Digest hardcover of this that was also lovely. Look at this. This is lovely. This is from the Puffin imprint of Penguin. I'm hoping that doesn't mean this is edited in any way, but I don't know. I don't recall discussing this with any publicists. I really hope this isn't edited. There's no reason to do that. Children, teenagers, the ones who this book is aimed at, would be insulted by it. I guess I can check. Oh, they've done a whole bunch. Look at that. A whole bunch of these. How many of you have these things? You know about these? Is there one for Pride and Prejudice? Yes, there is. And the Little Princess and Little Women. And Emma. And Anne of Green Gables. And Heidi. How wonderful. Wow, well, this is the only one that I have. The only one I've ever seen. Fantastic. All right, so it's a Sense and Sensibility kind of prodding that I'm getting from the gods here. And you ignore those at your peril. So, a new little hardcover from Puffin Books. I would say, I mean, this is gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. And this seems really, really tough, too. I wonder if this coloring, this gilding there will wear off easily. So my one worry with naked hardcovers. But if this is, this is a solidly made little thing and the perfect size. It's not coincidentally the size of a Kindle. So if you want, if you're in the market to go to the bookstore, this is going to be $17. If you're in the market to go to a bookstore and buy a pretty copy of Sense and Sensibility, and maybe you're also in the market, as I sometimes are, for a classic that is reissued with nothing but the book. This is you've got the pretty end papers there, and then boom, you're in chapter 1. No introduction, no afterward, no notes, no nothing. Every once in a while, I very much am looking for that. If it's a classic that I'm not going to lose any mileage on, and you're not with Sense and Sensibility, you're in very good hands. You don't need any annotations here. If you're in the market for such a thing, the only question that you should ask, I'll ask you too. I'll answer it as soon as I finish this video, is whether or not this is abridged in any way. If that's the case, then you don't want this. But if it's not, then how wonderful. All right. And then the last package here, we'll get this done in 20 minutes, this video, even less than that. Good. Good. What is this? Ew, it's an invoice. Gross. All right, what have we got here? Okay. All right, we've got contemporary fiction. This is called Early Sobrieties, and it's by Michael Diegler. And I'm guessing that it's a debut novel. It feels that way, and also a lot of the Dude Bro debut novelists in the last few years have taken to calling their debut book, to indicating in some way that it is early work, putting early or soon or doesn't know any better or stuff like that. To sort of, I don't think it's intentionally meant to critic-proof the book. I not at all, but it is definitely meant to be a shot across the bow, maybe a cringing pre-apology. Can I assume from that yeah, this is the author's first novel. Okay. All right, well, let's see what we have here. Don't worry about what Dennis Monk did when he was drinking. He's sober now, ready to rejoin the world of leases and paychecks, reciprocal friendships, and healthy romances, if only the world would agree to take him back. When his working stiff parents kick him out of their suburban home mere months into his fragile sobriety, the 26-year-old spends his first dry summer couch surfing through South Philadelphia, struggling to find a place for himself in the throng of adulthood. His haphazard pilgrimage leads him through a city in flux, growing, gentrifying, haunted by its history and its unrealized potential. Everyone he knew from college seems to be doing better than him, and most of them aren't even doing that well. His run-ins with former classmates, estranged drinking buddies, and prospective lovers challenge his version of events past and present, revealing that recovery is not the happy ending he expected, only a fraught next chapter. Okay, that sounds kind of promising. Like a sober millennial Jesus' son. Oh my God. Oh my God. You will scarcely encounter a book that is more sober or more millennial than Jesus' son. The author's debut novel is the poignant confession of a recovering addict adrift in the fragmenting landscapes of America's middle class. Shot through with humor, hubris, and hard-earned insight, this book charts the limbos that exist between our better and worst selves, offering a portrait of a stifled generation collectively slouching towards grace. Okay. I am assuming that you are from Philadelphia. I am just assuming that is the case. Is that right? Yes, you're from Philadelphia. Okay, so this is almost certainly autofiction. Totally recognizable to all of Michael Diegler's friends. That doesn't necessarily damn it at all. We shall see. That doesn't necessarily damn it. I obviously can't be against that if fate is also pushing me to reread Sons and Lovers. By D.H. Lawrence, which I found a nice Reader's Digest copy of Sons and Lovers at the Brattle this week, and mentioned in a video, in that haul video, that I was strongly tempted to try it again. To try and find some worth in this author that literary friends of mine and close literary friends of mine and also lots of readers have, in the course of my life, told me I am plain missing. I mentioned that in that video, and a number of you emailed me and said, "Aren't you asking for trouble after the Wordsworth debacle? Aren't you? If you say that about D.H. Lawrence, aren't you asking for trouble? Aren't you asking for some elbow patch pretentosaurus to send you a long 1,000-word email talking about Lawrence? Where shall we start, little Stevie?" And belatedly, I realized you were right. I should just take an arrogant, I know everything about everything tone if I want to avoid emails like that. As fate would have it, I only got one such email. It was well intended. I had to write back. I had to write back with gentle, padded over euphemisms to the effect that the fact that I want to revisit an author does not mean I am new to literature and maybe to going outside without me mama and daddy. It's just possible that that is true. It's possible that I know more about D.H. Lawrence than you do. But you were right. Those of you who wrote to warn me, you really shouldn't do that. I'm still going to do that because that is an honest reflection of my reading journey, as the Dude Bros say. I'm just going to have to maybe flash up a warning in those videos. Please don't send me chin-stroking, leather arm patch guidance emails about where I can start. It might be good to start with a short novel. So I was teaching this stuff literally before you were born. I might flash up those warnings, but I'm still gonna mention when I'm new, when I want to revisit something. But anyway, that is the mail. So what do we have here? 3 works of fiction and 1 of nonfiction, 1 classic and 1 debut. So not a bad haul. We have early sobrieties. We'll see what this author can do. Clean slate with since I don't read the literary periodicals, I don't read Tin House or anything like that. So if this guy has published short fiction, I'm unaware of it. I don't read those things at all. It's just a huge blank spot. If your short story doesn't appear in the magazines that I already get, which very seldom do debut fiction, then I won't know about you. So this is a clean slate. I don't know what tricks this author has up his sleeve. Then a classic, Sense and Sensibility. Little bit of an asterisk. We'll see. If this is unabridged, if it's unbawdlerized, then it's great. Then it'll probably be the best thing I get this week. I'll just have to check and see. Then 1795, The Order of the Furies. What sounds like fairly complicated historical thriller mystery type stuff. There aren't many of those being written. So, and I already know that I like this author. And finally, The Damascus Events by Eugene Rogan. All sorts of unrest in Damascus. What on earth could be causing it? The chaos seems to follow in its wake. So there you go. That is the mail for today. I didn't want to get too far out of practice with the mail. It's frightfully easy to do that, to fall out of practice and just start opening packages again, like I did for 30 years before we started talking to each other. But I'm going to try, so maybe we'll do mail tomorrow. But in the meantime, I will wrap this up for now. I will see you then. Thank you, BookTube.